Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
and welcome to the 2014 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series live on Monday nights, as always, now on LSRTV. Tonight, round 14 on the 2014 campaign, the end of segment 2, takes us to the Kentucky Motor Speedway for 120 laps or 180 miles. It's the Garry Mercer 180 at Kentucky, and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Evan Pasoko. Joining me up in the broadcast booth here this evening, Jacob Steelman, and we are looking forward to another great race. Quite like last race when we went to the Michigan International Speedway, Eric Brundys was able to take home his third win on the season by .038 seconds. That's less than 3/100ths of a second. A crazy finish. Nathan Little third, Scott Simley fourth, and E.J. O'Rourke able to come home in the number 5 spot.
And Evan, this is going to be interesting because tonight we go to a track here for race number 14 of the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series season that is very different than what we had last weekend in Michigan. We go to an intermediate, a 1.5-mile track in the former Kentucky Speedway. Going to drive very different. You cannot go wide open like you do at Michigan. It's going to be a little bit more about driver control and who can figure out the fastest way around this racetrack tonight. Kentucky very, very tough on tires. Going to be interesting to see. And another variable that we've yet to talk about tonight, obviously we're just getting started here, but a couple of subs tonight in for two of our notables in the championship chase, Evan, and definitely the most notable, that number 94 car. We just mentioned Eric Brundys, who went to victory lane last Monday night in Michigan, not here tonight. E.J. O'Rourke going to be filling in that number 94 car, and the number 44 car, Ben Burnett, in for Glenn Campbell tonight. So two names who are very familiar to RSR ranks, but two cars without their primary pilots tonight, and that could potentially shake things up here over the course of 120 laps.
Yeah, definitely talked about Ben Burnett. He's going to be in the number 44 this evening, as well. E.J. O'Rourke stepping in for not only last week's winner, but the championship points leader, Eric Brundys, as well. Going to have a sub at a 94 tonight, not here for this evening's race. Again, you mentioned an intermediate track, 1.5 miles, but this track can be really deceptive. If you look at it, it looks nice and wide for a lot of racing room. However, there's not grip all over this racetrack. And especially, you know, everybody been talking in the iRacing service over the last month or so, the new tire model, still trying to adjust to it. These cars can really just lose that back end. There's no real security in that rear end coming up off the corner. It could make for some good racing. It could make for exciting racing, but it's also going to provide a challenge to the drivers that they're not only battling the other cars out there on the racetrack, but they're also just battling the track in itself to try to survive these 120 laps, be there at the end to contend for a top 5, maybe a win.
And that's exactly the key. One of the keys to Kentucky is battling the racetrack. This is one of those racetracks where it is very, very much a driver's racetrack. You don't worry so much about everything that's going. You don't worry about everything that's going on around you as much as you do the track itself. And that, Evan, is going to be one of the major things that you're going to be watching over the course of the night. You're going to see a lot of comers and goers. You're going to see guys who are good at the start of a run who may fall off pretty big towards the end of a run. You'll see guys who fall back at the start of a run who come to the end of a run, and they're moving to the front.
And as the 15-minute open qualifying session comes to a close, a note just slipped to us on a desk here. One more sub. Bobby Terrell is piloting the 60 machine here this evening, and obviously the 60 machine normally piloted by John Higman Jr., as he finished 7th last week. So John not here at the racetrack, and Bobby Terrell will make up our third substitute, driving the number 60 machine, currently sitting P3 as qualifying comes to a close.
And it looks like qualifying to close right here, and it's going to put a name right now on top of the grid tonight in Matt Lacrosse, who almost, Evan, won at Michigan, came up just a nose short. That number 21 machine, he's going to be on the move in this race, and he's going to have the best starting position to do it tonight. And everybody going to be looking to make up ground on your points leader, Eric Brundys, of course. This is going to be a very interesting race. 40 points in hand for Brundys coming into tonight, but does a sub change all that?
You got to take a look. EJ O'Rourke qualifies 9th, and I think he actually pulled that lap out in those closing minutes because he was about 22nd or so with about 5 minutes left to go in the qualifying session. So we're going to have to see how this sub works out. Again, we got two other subs. Bobby Terrell substituting in the 60. He is sitting 3rd on the speed charge tonight. And so you got to compare those subs. You got O'Rourke, who is able to be starting up inside the top 10 versus another sub, Bobby Terrell in the 60 machine.
And it's, again, we talk about variables, and this is just another one of those variables that these drivers and this field is going to have to face tonight as we go through 120 laps, 180 miles in tonight's Garry Mercer 180 here at Kentucky. Evan, let's take a look at the starting grid. Go row by row here. Definitely a lot of power hitters at the front of this field. Starting on the pole tonight with a qualifying time 29.762. Matt Lacrosse in the Fanatec number 21. He's on pole. Alongside him, outside pole tonight, the number 85 of Adam Benefield.
The third driver that's going to be starting on the inside of row number 2 to break that 29.7 second barrier is Bobby Terrell in the 60 machine, once again subbing for John Higman Jr. Alongside him, how about the 55 machine of Dan Murray, going to be starting P4.
Moving to row 3, starting inside the 58, Justin M. Wilson. On the outside, the number 1 of Thomas J. George. That's row 3.
Taking a look back at row number 4, the inside 7 starting position going to belong to Jamie Moore, the number 82 machine. Mark Bratcher going to roll the 5 out. He's going to be starting alongside that 82 at number 8 spot.
Starting 9th tonight in the 94, subbing for the Eric Brundy's championship leader is EJ O'Rourke. Starting 10th outside of the 94, the number 91, Steve Gottschalk.
Taking a look just outside of our top 10, Nathan Little in the 41 machine, going to be starting in the number 11 spot. Ben Burnett in the 44, going to be starting 12.
Starting 13th, the number 68 of Scott Simley. He was another one in contention late at Michigan. Starting 14th tonight, the number 17, Jonathan Cattle.
Scott Stenzel's going to roll the 42 off in position number 15. Alongside him, Eric Arnold, the Navy Newton at number 31, going to be starting in 16.
Moving to row 9, the number 4 of CJ LeBaire goes inside, outside the 29 of Brennan Mercer.
Brian Harvey, the 66, owns position 19. 20th belonging to Kevin Linden.
Quick look at the rest of the starting field. 21st, Michael Gray. 22nd, Michael Woolley. 23rd, Jose Gonzalez. 24th, Jason White. 25th, Keith Brooks Jr. 26th, Brandon Peterson. Your final 4, Nathan Bowers, Jason Lester, Ed Williams Jr., and shotgun on the field tonight, LD Sarabia. 30 cars, 120 laps, 180 miles. And for those of you who may be just joining us, we are glad that you're with us here tonight on LSRTV for tonight's Garry Mercer 180 at Kentucky as the pace car makes the hard left peel to pit road and leaves the field in the hands of the number 21. Green flag goes in the air, and this field quickly spreads out as they head towards turn number 1.
You know, challenge for the top 2, top 3 now getting clear as Bobby Terrell separates in the 58 of Justin Wilson, able to get around Dan Murray in the corner now as the field works off of turn number 2 down to back straightaway. Top 5 single file for the time being as everybody tries to sort them out in 3 and 4.
And right now, almost a 7-car length lead for Matt Lacrosse. He was able to get away from the 85 of Adam Benefield early on, and those two really have left this field as they cross the stripe. Lacrosse will lead the opening lap. First battle as they head back to turn number 1, side by side for 5th, Justin Wilson, Thomas George.
And the number 1 machine of Thomas George is able to get around at 55 of Jan Murray using the bottom lane down into turn number 1. They were side by side up the stripe of their 1 machine. Going to get the spot and take sole possession of position number 5. A couple cars going backwards towards the back of the field. Ben Burnett went real high in 3 and 4 the last time by. Lost a handful of spots. He sits 15th after starting in 12.
So, again, it's a story of comers and a story of goers. And right now, a comer going to be Adam Benefield. He closes the gap down to 2 car lengths down the back straightaway. Got a big run off turn 2. That's going to be the battle for the lead as they work through 3. Right now, Lacrosse has the top spot. Benefield wants it. He closes off 4.
But 2 car lengths separate the top 2. 85 traces the line of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse down the front straightaway. Down to turn number 1 as the leaders take lap number 4. 85 closes the door to about 1.5 car lengths. Runs a lower line from 2 and out of back straightaway. It's a 1 car length lead for positions 1 and 2.
And I'll tell you right now, Benefiel, he's about a half a groove lower going into turns 1 and 2, and now working 3 and 4. He pulls a full groove down inside of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, closes it down to a half car length. He is all over the back bumper, battle for the lead, working lap number 4 now. So early on, these front two have established themselves as the two cars to beat early in this run. Bobby Terrell back there in third. All he can do is sit and watch.
You mentioned Matt Lacrosse had about a 7-car length lead going out of the start, but the 85 has managed to close it down now through 3 and 4. Lap number 5, the 85 of Benefiel continues to stalk his prey. The 21 of Matt Lacrosse has kind of stalled out. 21 sideways, 85 going to dive down nearly to the apron, closes it back into a car length, and then they go high to be able to arc it down into turns number 1 and 2. 85 still there. He's knocking on a doorstep. It looks like he continues to run a little bit of a lower line in 1 and 2 than race leader Matt Lacrosse. Half a car length down the back.
Meanwhile, we've got a battle for third down the back straightaway. 3-car scramble. Bobby Terrell in the 60. The 1 of Thomas J. George. He's powered from 6th up to 4th, and he wants to get the triple play off turn 4. Inside, the battle is for third, and George going to take that spot away, trying to bring the 58 of Justin M. Wilson with him. That's the door-to-door now battle for 4th as they head back to turns 1 and 2, and it's a 5-car scramble from third on back.
60 of Bobby Terrell slides back in line behind the 58 of Justin Wilson, and just in front of the 55 of Dan Murray to be able to hang on for a number 5 spot, as it's about single file from there on back to the outside of the top 10, and only about 1 or 2 car lengths separate those two. It's even closer up front. Benefiel to the bottom down to front straightaway now into turn number 1 side by side for the lead position. Matt Lacrosse yields high, 85 to the bottom and through, and new race leader, the 85 of Adam Benefiel out of 2.
This is exactly how he started his race in Michigan last Monday night. He got out front early, led a lot of laps, but unfortunately got a little bit of damage late in the going that derailed his efforts to challenge for the win. Benefiel looking to change that here tonight as he not able to pull away from the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. The gap is 2 car lengths back to 1. Lacrosse trying to close back down.
Caution, trouble in turns number 3 and 4. Michael Gray, the number 8 machine, is up against the outside wall, and a hard lick as he just lost the car on corner entry up into the outside retaining wall. Did a barrel roll, lost the engine, it appears, in the number 8 Monster Energy Chevrolet, and that machine of Michael Gray is torn up. He's going to come down pit road, and that brings out our first caution of the race. Taking a look there on the replay now as the field is gathering up behind the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car after the first caution. Going to fly on lap 8 in this 120 lap affair. Adam Benefiel has gone to the point after starting on the outside of row number 1 in his Toyota. It appears that he has the fastest machine on track. Those top 2 that were battling for the number 1 spot, they had opened up about a second gap over the rest of the field before they started to battle it out. And now Matt Lacrosse, after starting on pole position, finds himself back in the number 2 spot right now, working lap 10. Again, the lights on the pace car, just a fresh caution coming out. The first time we've had to slow these guys down and group them back up. Pacing out of turn number 4, Adam Benefiel down to the apron. Appears that he may be coming to pit road. Taking a look and see what the rest of the field will do. It looks like all our leaders going to be heading down for service.
Coming down pit road, Benefiel bringing the whole train with him as he pulls into his pit stall right now. And here's the key right here. We only went 8 laps. People are saying, okay, why are they pitting right now, Evan? They're pitting because tires. That is key here at Kentucky. You are going to burn through a set of Goodyear Racing Eagles really, really fast. And anytime you can get fresh rubber on these machines tonight, you're going to want it.
Top 4 at the front of the field, and Matt Lacrosse, the big loser, enters pit road second, and typically after starting at the number 1 spot and having that last pit stall on pit road will give you an advantage. He's actually going to leave pit road in the number 4 spot as he loses ground to the number 1 of Thomas J. George and the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, who was running 15th when we brought him down pit road. It's a 2-tire strategy, left sides for the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, and he is out the 85 of Adam Benefield, also on 4 tires. The first car to exit pit road on that strategy. One car that left before our leaders, the 29 of Brennan Mercer, came through and did not enter his pit stall, made a pass through, so expect that 29 to possibly come back down the next time around. But Adam Benefield, first car out on fresh tires.
This is going to get really interesting right here, Evan, because I'll tell you right now, you want fresh tires, but even 8 laps in, I think we're about to see what the difference between 2 tires and 4 tires here really is, because of how quickly these tires get eaten up, especially if you're taking left sides. Left sides is a really, really interesting call, because if you're going to burn up any 2 tires, the right front, those right sides especially, but especially that right front, because you're trying to charge the corner here at Kentucky, I don't know that I like that call right now, and I'm going to be interested to see how this shakes out on the restart, because I think you're going to see anybody that takes 2 tires tonight, they're not going to stay up front for very long, especially when the rest of the field takes 4.
You also have to look at that 29 of Brennan Mercer, who is currently sitting in the number 1 position, did come down pit road with everybody else in the field, and he was around 18th position by Kevin Linden in the 48. He entered pit road behind that 48 machine, came down, didn't even look for his pit stall, went all the way out and through, and typically you would see then from an error, a misjudgment, missing that pit stall, and typically you see that guy come back at the next time around. 29 staying out that last time by pit road, remains in the number 1 spot, and is scored in position number 1. So Brendan Mercer, after starting 18th, currently sits first. No tires for him. He's got 4 tires on his right-hand side with Benefield and Jose Gonzalez in third on the inside of row number 2, right behind him with 2. So we got all different tire strategies up inside the top 3.
Yeah, we do, and that's going to make the restart very dicey, and I think what you're going to see is the outside lane likely be the place to be unless Mercer, if he does stay out, chooses the outside, but if he stays low, I think you're going to see that outside lane be the place to be in a hurry, because you've got not a lot of tires in those first 2 inside rows, and Adam Benefield on 4, oh boy, he is going to be a rocket ship, and seeing one car come to pit road, I believe, Evan, that is the 29 of Brennan Mercer.
Yeah, Mercer went one more time around, did not come down pit road the first time, and second loop around after not pitting, he will give up the number 1 position to come down and make service to his number 29, Garry Mercer Trucking Chevrolet. He enters his pit stall, and really no rush in time as he's the only one down there, so expect 4 tires, right sides on the 29. Crew going over to the left side as well. 4 tires and fuel for Brendan Mercer. He will give up the lead as we double up because the lights on the pace car have been extinguished. The 85 of Adam Benefield to position number 1. And again, the big mover of this race, pole sitter Matt Reclaras, did not have the speed on pit road. He's going to be restarting in the number 5 spot.
Now we see what Lacrosse's car is going to be like in traffic, and that could be a game changer. You want to be good in traffic at this racetrack because chances are you're going to come into traffic in a relatively big hurry. So how are they going to shake up for the restart? We talked about the top 5 all the way back to Matt Lacrosse. Justin M. Wilson going to restart 6th. Dan Murray in the 55 going to roll 7th. Bobby Terrell falling all the way back to 8th position. He was inside the top 5 before pit stops began. Mark Bratcher in 9th and Scott Stenzel in 10th right now with that 94 machine normally piloted by Eric Brundy's. E.J. O'Rourke behind the wheel of that machine tonight. The sub, he is hovering in 11th, so he's not quite gotten that car into the top 10 yet in this race. Started there but fell back in a hurry, so we'll have to keep an eye on that 94 on this restart. But right now, the field in the hands of Adam Benefield. Pace car makes the hard left peel to pit road. Benefield on the gas. Brennan Mercer, Jose Gonzalez, the rest of this field. Green flag back in the air, and it's timing and scoring updating right there as Gonzalez was the one that restarted second. He's going to fall back in a hurry as Benefield gets about 9 car lengths away. The battle is for second. Thomas George going around Gonzalez on 2 tires, and down the back straightaway, he has got a long way to go to catch the 85.
Yeah, the 26 had bad tire spin there on the restart. Side by side just behind them, there's Matt Lacrosse. We talked about what his car would be like in traffic. to the bottom, up at a little bit of a slide job. He gets a little bit of a nudge, gets sideways, hangs on to it as the 21 slid up in front of the 58 of Justin Wilson. Give the position to Matt Lacrosse. He's going to go from 5th to 4th now at a racetrack and try to chase down that 26 of Jose Gonzalez.
How about side-by-side a little further back in the pack? About 11th place, Eric Arnold in the 31, Steve Gottschalk in the 91. That's a 2x2 battle back in the pack.
Oh,
you got a battle. Oh, trouble. Gottschalk goes around after a little bit of contact. It looked like from the 31 of Eric Arnold. Tries to lock it down. He's sideways in 3 and 4. That's going to bring out the second caution of this race as Gottschalk comes to a stop, gets it righted, and he'll pull down to the apron. But boy, you almost saw that one coming, Evan, because you had 4 cars right there. Eric Arnold and Steve Gottschalk with a couple of fast guys right behind them. That was just almost an accident waiting to happen because it was a hornet's nest right there back around 11th place.
And what happened there was the 91 on the inside, 31 on the outside lane, and the 91 obviously with that inside position. Steve Gottschalk almost taking the corner, didn't dive it down quite as early as the 31 of Eric Arnold expected. And, I mean, you see the guys in front of him, right up in front of that side-by-side battle was Dan Murray. Dan Murray was already dived down into the corner trying to make his arc. 91 didn't quite do that as early as Eric Arnold wanted. 31 ended up to turn down into his corner to make his turn. Next thing you know, the 91 of Steve Gottschalk still really hasn't made that full arc, and 31 doors the 91, and the 91 gets split. Great job driving again. We were 2x2. That second side-by-side battle just split the 91. 17 machine has to dive to the bottom. That's Jonathan Cadell, and the 68 of Scott Simley goes high. They split that 91, and thankfully nobody else involved because that incident started around the top side of this pack, and that could have been a lot bigger, but the 91 locked it up, and great driving by all these other drivers to avoid it and keep it a one-car incident, and also good job at the 91 to lock it up and keep it out of the wall. Top side of this lead lap, cars leaders not really pitting. A couple of guys from 10th on back going to come down for some service.
And one car with the heavy, heavy smoke coming down the pit road right now. That's the number 44 of Ben Burnett. One of our subs, Burnett, is in that 44 machine tonight, Evan, and looks like heavy trouble, and he immediately pulls it to the garage area. Looks like Burnett's night. Not sure exactly what happened, but all of a sudden, he's done.
Oh, and this is big news. Under the caution flag, as they were slowing down for the pace car out of back straightaway, 44 of Ben Burnett goes flying into a already slowed down 13 machine of Michael Woolley, who was going slowed out of back straightaway. We can get a replay of this lap 16, and the 44 actually gets into the 41 of Nathan Little and also plows the 13 machine of Michael Woolley down to back straightaway. So a 3-car incident under the caution flag, as the 44 just gets in there too hot, caught sleepy, not paying attention, gets the 41, the 13, and then obviously that heavy smoke for himself. Not what he wanted to do because he obviously trying to come out here and represent well for Glenn Campbell, subbing into 44, and Ben Burnett currently no longer on the racetrack.
That's a really, really tough break for that operation tonight, one of our championship contending operations. So that's really going to shake up this points battle as we circulate under caution here already at lap number 17, but we've not had a ton of green flag action. This just the second caution already in this race here. About half our laps have been run under the yellow flag so far, and luckily though, looks like we're getting ready to head back to the green flag. Looks like the field's starting to form up 2 by 2 behind the pace car. Lights going out right here, and now we see a restart, and we're going to try to get a few more green flag laps strung together.
You're definitely still well over 100 laps to go at this thing, and obviously we've seen 2 restarts now, and we saw tire spin with the 26 of Jose Gonzalez when he restarted in the number 2 position that last time by. So one of the other questions, not only that, is going to be how does our race leader determine what we're going to do here? Adam Benefield, again, the control car has from when the pace car pulls off to the sim actually throwing a green flag, did a similar strategy than what Matt Lacrosse did at the beginning of the race, waited about a second or two, and then dove and got off and went, and again, it worked out because he got about a 7-9 car lead on the restart. Let's see if the 85 tries to mix it up a little bit and play some games.
The head games are what makes it so interesting, and that's what makes this kind of racing fun, is the head games that you can play, try to outsmart, outwit your competition is Adam Benefiel in a very familiar position out front, looking to go to victory lane yet again here in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. He will lead this field back to green. Thomas J. George going to be on his outside, and then the two-tire machine, the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, ready to roll from the third position. Benefiel's waiting a little bit longer this time. Now he gets on the throttle. Green flag back in the air as the 26 of Gonzalez spins the tires just a little bit. Looked like that back end tried to kick out on him. He gathers it back up, tries to get a run for second. He'll take second away from Thomas J. George as they're 2 and 3 wide behind him going into turns 1 and 2.
George was real slow on exit. 26 is able to slip through at the bottom, and now side by side behind them. 21 of Matt Lacrosse trying to hold off the 42 of Stenzel. Stenzel on the bottom can't get the job done in turn number 3. That 21 of Matt Lacrosse is able to get the spot, and now the 42 of Stenzel slow on corner exit. And a great run by Justin Wilson to the bottom, side by side between these two drivers for position number 5.
And side by side for second, the 1 of Thomas George coming back on the 26 Jose Gonzalez. He goes inside, takes the spot away off turn number 2, and behind them a 3-car scramble.
Big contact up front.
Major contact as the 1 and the 26 get together. Gonzalez and George were battling for second at the time. They gather it back up, but they're going to lose about 4 positions right here as they slot in about 7th place now. So battling for that runner-up position behind Adam Benefiel. You see a major amount of contact between the 1 and the 26. I don't know whether you chalk that up to hard racing or two drivers who literally don't want to give an inch, but they give up 4 spots apiece right there. Matt Lacrosse, Justin Wilson, Bobby Terrell, E.J. O'Rourke, all flashed by the 1 and the 26 of George and Gonzalez.
Thomas George was just chasing that car up the hill, and it looked like Jose had stalled out. He was able to get back to the gas, and as that 1 was just trying to chase it up, Jose Gonzalez got a huge run, came flying up the outside, and both those cars get into the wall. Thomas J. George has now settled right now in position number 6. And now he spins out of turn number 4, out of 2, sorry, the 1 of George around caution. As the 1 machine obviously got damaged from that, because I went to take a look at him, and out of turn number 2, nearly collects the 42 machine of Scott Stenzel, just loses the handle on it. Again, these cars very touchy off the corner with this tire model. 1 goes around, he's able to keep it out of the inside wall, but that will cause our 3rd caution of the race.
Tough break for that 1 machine of Thomas J. George as he is going to fall way back outside the top 10 now, trying to get it gathered back up. And you know, one of the things we really didn't get a chance to touch on, only because all the excitement started happening there around 7th place, Evan, was the fact that in that scramble, when you first saw Gonzalez and the 1 get together, you saw Matt Lacrosse go from 6th to 2nd. That 21 machine, he wants to get back to Adam Benefiel. He wants to battle for this lead. He's got a very fast race car and was able to pass 3 or 4 cars without really having to lose a lot of time to that 85 machine, and now it's going to put them side by side for this next restart.
And again, we've seen restarts can be oh so exciting. I talked about the fact that Adam Benefiel might try to change things up a little bit at the front of the field. He definitely waited a little bit longer. That kind of threw Jose Gonzalez off, and it looks like we're coming back down pit road for more service on lap 23, led by the 85 of Benefiel.
And it looks like we have 1 or 2 cars stay out right here, playing a few head games as most of the leaders coming down pit road. The 85, Adam Benefiel, the 21, Matt Lacrosse, Justin Wilson in the 58. And it looks like E.J. O'Rourke going to be one of the cars that stays out in that 94 machine to grab the top spot as the rest of your front runners come in for service. Benefiel, Lacrosse hit their pit stalls. And Evan, I'm thinking we're going to see 4 tires here yet again. I know it's only been 10 laps and most of them have been under caution, but why not?
It is 4 tires, and Matt Lacrosse does much better. Enters pit road in the number 4 spot. Does not quite beat out the 85, but he will leave right behind him, so picks up a little bit of time there as opposed to last time we saw Matt Lacrosse lose about 5 spots on pit road. A solid stop for the 21 of Matt Lacrosse over Benefiel. Still beats him out of pit road, and then obviously have a handful of drivers up near the front of the field right behind the pace car that are working and trying to get their laps back. But right now, E.J. O'Rourke is in the number 1 spot. Again, he stayed out, subbing for Eric Brundage. You talked about him trying to get in the top 10. sitting P1.
And that's exactly what that team needs right now. They want to continue this streak of momentum, and wouldn't it mean something for E.J. O'Rourke to grab a victory and be able to credit the points to the championship leader? That would be a huge burst of momentum for this 94 team tonight, as a little bit of a different circumstance for them, but anytime you can have a sub and have a chance to extend the championship lead, Evan, then you know you've done something really special on the racetrack.
And you mentioned that we didn't really see that split of 2 tires that we saw last time. Pretty much 4 tires for the majority of the drivers. So the 94 of O'Rourke's going to be up there not on 4, not on 2, with no tires. We saw how that worked last time with some guys staying out. So it's going to be interesting to see how much this 94 can hang on. I know you mentioned it's only been 10 laps since the last time these guys had slowed them down, come down to get fresh tires. But if you can take tires, you might as well take it. So we got a couple guys up here that did not do so. Going to be interesting to see, especially with the tire spin on fresh tires, what it'll be like on old ones.
And I think there's a catch to this restart, Evan. What we were looking at last time, we were seeing no tires, but we were seeing guys with a lot of with green flag laps on those tires. This time, we're seeing guys with no tires, but we've really only run not even a full lap at speed since they bolted those sets of tires on the last time they were down pit road. I don't know that we're going to see the tire disparity on this restart that we saw the last restart, simply because these guys haven't had any green flag time since this last round of pit stops.
So E.J. O'Rourke will be in the number 1 position. Right now, the light's still on the pace car, so at least 1.5 more circuits around the Kentucky Motor Speedway before we go black green once again from our 3rd caution of the race. Dan Murray is in the number 2 spot in his Toyota. 3rd belongs to Jonathan Cadell. Brennan Mercer, the 29 Garry Mercer Trucking Chevrolet, and this obviously the Garry Mercer 180 at Kentucky Motor Speedway. He sits 4th. Eric Arnold 5th. Adam Benefield in the number 6 spot. Then we see that 21 of Matt Lacrosse in 7th. Bobby Terrell in the 60, again subbing for John Higman Jr., sits 8th. Justin Wilson, Mark Bratcher could round out the top 10 in the first 5 rows on this next restart.
And how about give a call to Brennan Mercer? Started at the back end of the top 20 in this field, I believe 18th. And he's running 4th for this restart. They've used some pretty nice strategy over these first 25 laps to put him in a position to maybe strike right here on this restart. That outside lane's been able to build up some pretty good momentum, and as the field doubles up to get ready to rock and roll for what will be our 3rd restart here at Kentucky, Brennan Mercer might just be one to keep your eye on, because he might be able to wind it up on that outside lane and make something happen.
And again, not only that, but this is going to be the 3rd different time we're going to see a different car up the front, going to be in control of a restart. We saw Benefield play a little bit of games, change it up on his 2nd one. We've seen our race leader and pole sitter at one point, Matt Lacrosse, do it. Let's see what the 94 of E.J. O'Rourke's going to go with on this restart as well.
And as the field starting to work now into turn number 3, they are just waiting for that Ford pace car to make the hard left peel back to the safety of the pit lane and leave the field in the hands of E.J. O'Rourke and Dan Murray. So as we work off the exit of turn number 4, the pace car now makes that hard left turn. O'Rourke in the 94 leading this field back to the green flag. He waits a long time. Now he goes and gets a great jump off the restart. The battle's going to be behind him for 2nd between Jonathan Cattle and Dan Murray. Cattle gets out in front. He claims 2nd. The 17 going after the race lead, but E.J. O'Rourke about 6 cars in front. Front 4 runs single file, then it's side by side for 5th behind him.
Possibly going to go 3 wide, 21 to the bottom, thinks better of it, and slides in line behind Eric Arnold. Arnold battling side by side with the 29 of Brennan Mercer. Mercer goes too high, is going to drop back, 31 able to clear him. He brings the 21 of Matt Lacrosse with him, and now the 58's next challenger is the 29 of Brennan Mercer, going the wrong way on the outside lane.
Mercer dropping back, so he's struggling on this restart, not like what we expected. However, the man on the move is the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. He has dig into the inside of the 55 of Dan Murray. That's the battle for third as they work down the back straightaway. They are door to door, wheel to wheel, and behind them, the battle for fifth shaping up. Eric Arnold, Justin Wilson going at it. Wilson's going to take a spot away, but Matt Lacrosse, a power move to the inside. He's the one that is slicing and dicing his way through this field. Adam Benefield stuck behind him. He's in sixth right now.
Benefield's got to watch side by side in front of him. 58 sliding back on the outside. Justin Wilson, no run out of turn number 2. That allows the 85 of Adam Benefield to get to his inside. That is the battle for position number 5. 85 and 58 still door to door now in 3, and coming out through turn number 4. No advantage to anybody. 85 slides high, has to check up, and a 58 is going to get split off the bumper. Justin Wilson around through the front straightaway grass. No harm, no foul, doesn't hit anything, and green flag's going to remain out. No caution as Justin Wilson gets loose and gets finished off unintentionally, obviously, by the 85 of Benefield, who was looking to the inside, and tough break, but he kept it out of the wall. He's going to have to try to recover. Justin Wilson to the back of the pack.
That's a tough pick for Wilson. I don't know that the two of them actually made contact coming off turn 4. I think the 58 of Wilson just got a little bit loose in that back end, like we've seen a lot during practice, as we'll get a look at the replay right here to confirm it, Evan. But I think it's just a case of what we've seen all night long during practice, that back end just kicking out.
And he had to give it a little more because he saw that that machine on his inside had to run 85, and you see 58 get sideways, and there is contact just a little bit on the left rear, but I'm pretty sure that 58 was more than around at that point already, just kind of finished him off, but obviously no intentional contact there. But Matt Lacrosse has settled into 27th spot. Still a long way to go, or actually just under down 90 laps remain in this race. But Matt Lacrosse is now back up at the number 1 spot. But again, we saw that 21 start out front kind of looked a little bit slow, was easily chased down by the 85 of Adam Benefield. That 21 machine has been a rocket ship since that first caution.
And he flat left the 94 of E.J. O'Rourke. I think we're starting to see that no tires is not going to get you anywhere around this Kentucky Speedway. O'Rourke goes from first to third in 1 lap, and Lacrosse opens up a 3/4 second advantage over Jonathan Cattle in the 17. O'Rourke back to third, and he's going to have to try to keep from losing that spot, though. Cattle gets a little bit loose off the corner, and O'Rourke almost gets the run to the inside, but now this freight train starting to build up behind O'Rourke as they work off turn 4. He is really loose, and that's going to open the door. Dan Murray in the 55 sweeps to the inside, right over the bumper of Adam Benefield. Those two almost make contact, but able to straighten everything out. And now, that 94 of O'Rourke, he's going to get freight trained right here on the outside lane, going to lose at least 3 spots, maybe more. That 94 definitely going the wrong direction in a hurry.
One other car with going wrong right. 78 of Brandon Peterson just got left by about 3-4 cars as something went wrong. It looks like he just got sideways at a turn number 2 and had to get back up to speed. Brandon Peterson right now in the number 78 machine is going to drop all the way from the number 10 spot back to number 16 after trying to recover that machine at a turn number 2.
And as Peterson tries to recover, another driver trying to recover is Dan Murray. He's about to lose. He's just lost third and maybe going to lose fourth right here to Eric Arnold. That car looked a little squirrely off turn 2 last time by. Looks a little more squirrely off turn 4, as I think Eric Arnold gave him a little shunt coming up off the corner. Arnold gets by to claim the 4th position as Benefield leaves that battle for 4th, and E.J. O'Rourke now settling into 6th. So you see the 55 and the 94 right here. Murray and O'Rourke, two guys who are going the wrong direction in a relative hurry, while Matt Lacrosse has opened up a 1.4 second advantage over the 17 of Jonathan Cattle.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that 55 got a little bit ushered out of the way by the 31. A little bit of contact. They're both now closing in on Eric Arnold, however, who sits in the number 4 spot, side by side for 5th, as E.J. O'Rourke dives to the bottom of the 55 of Dan Murray. Murray a little bit slow at a high side, will slide in line behind the 94, and now the 60 is going to challenge. So 94 gets the spot, and now the 60 of Bobby Terrell wants another position as the 55 continuing to go backwards on the outside lane. Bobby Terrell in the Muscle Milk Chevy trying to clear him. 55 of Murray's going to battle back on the high side, door to door, side by side down the front.
And I'll tell you, that's one of the best battles on the racetrack right now, because the only other thing that we've seen is Adam Benefiel be able to get by Jonathan Cattle for second now. That, though, 1.7 seconds behind race leader Matt Lacrosse, who has pulled out and left this field. Though we've got trouble down the back straightaway. Brandon Peterson goes around, does about 360s, manages to get it going in the right direction down the back. And it looks like we're going to go under caution here for the fourth time. Evan, really lucky, though, that Peterson did not collect anybody else, because that was about the worst possible place you could go around, right in the middle of the back straightaway.
They were coming off the corner, and again, similar to the incident we saw at turn number 4, 26, an innocent bystander, Jose Gonzalez, working the inside lane. 78 gets sideways, has no chance to recover, and gets assisted around. And you mentioned kind of stayed in the gas a little bit, was able to keep the 78 off the wall, does 2 rotations, no harm, no foul. But again, caution flag will fly.
And looking at the replay a little bit closer, it looks like the 78 may have clipped the front of the 26 of Jose Gonzalez just a little bit. Not sure if there's any major damage to that number 26 machine of Jose Gonzalez, but I'm sure they'll inspect that damage when he comes down to pit road this time around. Looks like most of our leaders going to be coming down, although I thought maybe the 94 was going to stay out again, but no, he will head to pit road right here. And looks like all our leaders going to be on the pit lane, led by Matt Lacrosse and Adam Benefiel, who are going to have a long way to go down to their stalls at the head of this grid.
And now Matt Lacrosse is going to be entering from the point, taking into the equation the fact that he has that last pit stall, should be able to exit in the number 1 spot. Do we see a 2-tire strategy possibly? Currently on lap 40, 21 enters his pit stall and nearly overshot it. Matt Lacrosse way deep in the pit box, and it may work out to his advantage in the end, but that was a close call. Right side tires and left side tires on for both him, Benefiel, and on back, and no harm, no foul. Matt Lacrosse easily going to lead him out of pit road. Adam Benefiel also going to be coming out second.
Looks like the top 4 are going to come out, maybe even the top 6 going to come out exactly like they went onto the pit lane. I know at least back to E.J. O'Rourke in 5th was the front 5 coming out exactly like they came in. And now what we see is caution with 1/3 of this race down. Matt Lacrosse leads Adam Benefiel, Jonathan Cattle, Eric Arnold, E.J. O'Rourke. That's your top 5. Following pit stops, we will resort the rest of this running order here in just a few moments. But first, we are going to pause for a few words under this caution flag and return to the Garry Mercer 180 right after this. From Kentucky Speedway, this is the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series on LSRTV. Stay with us.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back to the Kentucky Speedway here on LSRTV, the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Garry Mercer Trucking. The Garry Mercer 180 just about to get back underway with 42 of the 120 laps in the books. Jacob Seelman up here in the broadcast booth tonight alongside Evan Pasoko as we get set to rock and roll for another restart, the fourth one that we've had so far tonight. Matt Lacrosse and Adam Benefiel going to make up the front row as the pace car makes the hard left turn to pit road, and Lacrosse going to step right on the gas. Green flag back in the air as Benefiel slots in right behind him. The front three in lockstep formation. Lacrosse, Benefiel, and Jonathan Cattle head back towards turn one. First side-by-side battle for fourth. The 94 of E.J. O'Rourke going at the 31 of Eric Arnold off turn two.
It is side-by-side down to back straightaway. 31 of Eric Arnold, slight advantage on the high side in the turns number 3 and 4. This is where the inside is strongest, though. Corner exit, advantage to get a shift back to the outside lane on corner exit. 31 of Eric Arnold trying to get a nose. He clears the 94 at the strike.
And a little bit of contact behind them. The battle for 6th place between Mark Bratcher and I believe Dan Murray, and it looked like the 5 and the 55 made just a little bit of contact up off the exit of turn number 4. Don't think either one of them was any worse for wear, but those two cars just trying to kind of drifting down, drifting up, looking for the same piece of real estate. And the battle is still side by side, though it's a little further back in the field. About 9th place, the Bobby Terrell, CJ LeBaire, Scott Simley battle.
Yeah, Terrell on the inside of the number 5 of Mark Bratcher. On the outside lane is the 5 machine. 60 gets cleared, and now the Ford is the next challenger. How about CJ LeBaire? He can't get it done, slides back in line, but LeBaire making up decent ground after starting 17th. Continuing to charge at the front is that number 4 machine right behind these two. 42 of Scott Stenzel sits in 11th spot, has a little bit of company. 68's knocking on the door, and now just as we say that, CJ LeBaire wants another shot at the 5 of Bratcher and a 1.
And I'll tell you, I think this is the calmest we've seen this field so far in this race today, as it looks like the number 66 machine of Brian Harvey down the front straightaway about went for a ride, and he really has to gather it up to keep it from going too far into the grass. He'll hang on but lose a ton of positions all the way back around the 23rd position now, where LD Sarabia is trying to get underneath him, as we see a bunch of cars scrambling towards the back of the pack, Evan, but this is the calmest I've seen the front of this field in quite a while.
Yeah, we're taking a look at a back bumper. CJ LeBaire, you see right behind him, the 42. Scott Stenzel working, gets a little bit close to the wall. That is the next car in show is the 68 machine of Scott Simley. All these guys trying to battle for a top 10 spot. 42 hangs on to the tail end of that top 10, currently sitting in position number 10. Again, CJ LeBaire in the number 8 spot, trying to close up to the 94. Actually, it's going to be the 60 now in front of him as scoring updates. It's the 94, actually, E.J. O'Rourke in that Garry Mercer Trucking Chevrolet. And that 4 machine, I'm telling you, CJ LeBaire with some newfound speeds working his way forward.
Well, I'll tell you, it shouldn't be the 94 of E.J. O'Rourke right in front of him, but unfortunately, O'Rourke nearly had a date with the outside safer barrier down the back straightaway. I don't know if he hit it or not for sure. We might have to see if we can dial up a replay on that one, but O'Rourke was very, very squirrely down the back straightaway, lost all his momentum, and there is confirmed right side damage on the 94
back
of E.J. O'Rourke. He is dropping way back now. Looks like it's like he's thrown the parachute out on it, Evan. When you get damage, especially on that right side, it will kill the aerodynamics on one of these machines. And right now, E.J. O'Rourke seeing the ill effects of that after a taste to the outside wall coming off of turn number 2.
One problem, Jamie Moore on the 82 machine running in 26th spot as we get that replay up. The 26 machine is dropping back, and he has actually had to come to pit road. Jamie Moore in the 82, apologies, now drops to 27th as he has had to come down pit road, having a little bit of connection issues with the sim, and he is no longer on the racetrack.
So Moore looks like done, and we heard that call over the radio. He said it was a connection issue, a FPS issue, and Jamie Moore gonna pull it in and call it a night in that machine. So, and right now up front, we've had a change for the lead. Adam Benefiel has sailed around the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. Jonathan Cattle comes right along with him. So Lacrosse gets dumped. Oh, trouble. Son of a gun. Adam Benefiel, he saves it. But that right there is going to cost him a ton of track position, Evan. And that's no caution yet, it doesn't look like. That's surprising because that's almost the caution is now out. I was going to say that's almost the exact same position we saw Brandon Peterson spin down the back straightaway the last time we had a yellow flag around lap 40, and now we see the tough break for Adam Benefiel in that 85. He had a tough break at Michigan as well and was unable to capitalize on a dominant car in the early going last Monday night. Now he had a dominant car going tonight and doesn't look like he is going to be able to capitalize tonight either, Evan. Looks like a lot of front-end damage to that number 85 machine.
And he didn't get that front-end damage from that spin. Again, he did a hell of a job saving it. It was kind of on the lower lane of the racetrack, didn't really get up high, didn't have a lot of room to save it, and did a marvelous job. Barely got that left rear end of the wall, a little bit of left rear quarter panel damage, but again, did have some front end damage as well to the 85 of Adam Benefiel. Could have attributed to that. However, he was moving pretty quickly, was able to get up to the lead, so not sure if that was the cause of that or it was just what we've seen in the past, that is just those cars getting loose on corner exit. The rear end just steps out and really have no time to react to other leaders coming down pit road, led by the 17 machine of Jonathan Cadell, following him, Matt Lacrosse.
And Dan Murray, how about the drive by the 55 machine all the way up to this third position? Jonathan Cadell, though, going to pull into his pit stall and send Matt Lacrosse all the way down to the end of pit road. Stops a little short in the box, so trying to see what kind of a launch he can get as the right sides go up on the number 17 machine. Going to swing around. It's going to be a 4-tire pit stop and 2 cans of Sunoco race fuel for the 17 of Jonathan Cadell. He is down and away, nearly fishtails it into the inside pit wall, but gets it straightened up, and maybe going to win the race off pit road. Doesn't look like it. I think Matt Lacrosse may have nosed him out right there at the yellow line, Evan. That was almost too close to call right there.
Yeah, it looked like that 17 came flying up, but again, that last pit stall going to come and pay due dividends for the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and it did appear that he was the first car to leave pit road, and Jonathan Cadell is not looking to pass him down the back straightaway, so 21, we do believe, does lead that race off of pit road. The one car in front of our leaders is a lap machine of Jason White, 2 laps downhill. Sit up there and wait for the wave around to go back to the tail end of the lead lap to hang on to being 2 laps down. He rides around on lap 51 as our leaders currently work lap 53 under this caution period.
Coming up on halfway and gonna get a chance here in a few laps to update you on where all the participants in this race are running when we get to that halfway point. And I think after it all cycles through, we'll see that 17 and Jonathan Cadell go back to the lead. But I want to give a call to a driver we've really not talked a whole lot about tonight, Evan. Currently riding, though, I believe I'm going to cycle through and be in the top 10 right here. The 68 of Scott Simley has had a very long night, but he was in contention to win last week at Michigan, was actually the leader on the green and white restart, the 1-lap dash last Monday night. Unfortunately, wasn't able to hang on to it, but Simley, he's worked hard to get up to the 8th position so far tonight, and that 68 machine, he could sneak a top 5 out of this if they can get that car where he wants it.
And Scott Simley is 5th in the championship standings, does have a win on this 2014 campaign, and has made a start in all 13 of the races before tonight's. Again, tonight, round 14 on the 2014 campaign here at Kentucky. So Scott Simley looking to pick up another top 5 to add to his resume. Currently sits with 4 of those on the season, 6 top 10s, but again, 5th in the championship standings. And who knows, that at 68 machine could be gunning for win number 2.
He's going to want one, especially after having the win in his sights. He was about a half lap away from that caution that came out last Monday night late in the race at Michigan, giving him the victory because of not getting back to green flag racing. And unfortunately, that 1-lap dash was all it took to erase Simley's 2nd win of the season. But in a solid position so far tonight, sitting there in 8th position, kind of like C.J. LeVere up there in 6th as well. Those are 2 guys who have hovered at the back half of the top 10 or just outside the top 10, quietly putting together some pretty nice runs here so far tonight. But the ones who have been loud and proud at the front of this field have been the 21 of Matt Lacrosse and the 17 of Jonathan Cadell. And I want to give a call to that number 60 machine of Bobby Terrell, subbing for John Higman Jr. That 60 machine back up to P3 right now as we get set to double up for another restart here tonight at Kentucky. And Terrell, he's got double-digit wins in this RSR series, and he's going to be wanting one tonight, especially in that machine, which currently sits in the top 3 in the point standings.
Adam Benefield back down pit road to service that machine again. It appears that the most significant damage is to the front end of that race car. He did tear up the left rear a little bit. He comes in for tires and repairs once again to top off before we go back green this next time around. Adam Benefield is currently sitting 24th. He's going to lose a couple more spots with that stop, but he does take 4 tires and top it off before we get back going here. So no challenger, and we're not going to see any deja vu like we did at the start of the race where Matt Lacrosse took off and Adam Benefield quickly chased him down, but that Toyota number 17 of Jonathan Cadell could be the person to do it. He's going to be starting on the outside of row number 2, and again, you mentioned that 60 of Bobby Terrell subbing for John Higman Jr. has made an appearance inside the top 3.
And I wouldn't count out that 55 of Dan Murray either. He's had a stout race car, maybe not leader stout just yet, but that 55 machine has done a nice job. He's been in the top 5 virtually this entire race as we're going to get the green flag with 55, coincidentally, laps complete in this Garry Mercer 180 as the pace car makes the hard left peel to pit road, leaves the field in the hands of Matt Lacrosse, who jumps on the hammer and pulls by 3 car lengths Jonathan Cadell as the green flag comes out and the top 3 fall in lockstep trouble, though we are not even going to get all the way to turn 1 and the yellow light's back on.
Jason White with heavy contact in the 30 machine up here on the front straightaway. A self-spin. That's some wicked tire spin right there. Was he went up to get on the gas, and that car just turned dead right. Heavy contact into the outside wall, and the front end of that 30 Skoll machine is torn up back under the yellow flag right after we took the green, but that number 30 Ford machine is torn up. Again, Jason White, we saw him up at the front of the field to take a wave around as he sat 2 laps down. Currently sits 1 lap down, but that is some heavy contact. That 30 is torn up as we get that replay going. You can see it on the screen right now on that restart.
And like you said, Evan, very heavy hit and very heavy damage to the front end of that number 30 machine, and likely going to end any shot he's got at even scrounging together a top finish tonight. Obviously, the attrition rate is not yet over, but what that's going to do is basically going to put us back to a restart at the halfway point of this race. And as we approach halfway, we are going to take this opportunity to slide in another break, get some words in for the people that help make it possible here, and we'll be back right after this from Kentucky Speedway. This is the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series on LSRTV. Stay with us. What did you get for Thursday? Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway here on LSRTV for tonight's Garry Mercer 180 for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. Jacob Seelman alongside Evan Pasoko up here in the broadcast booth tonight as we are just about ready to get this race back under the green flag, and we're going to be working halfway right now, and that means it'll be basically time for a mid-race update. We'll do that once we get back under the green flag, but right now it's Matt Lacrosse, Jonathan Cadell, Bobby Terrell, Eric Arnold, Dan Murray, your top five, Evan. And what we're seeing right now is subs and a big shift in the points battle so far today as E.J. O'Rourke subbing for Eric Brundys in that 94. Brundys came in with a 40-point lead. That is going to take a serious hit tonight. O'Rourke running back in 23rd position right now.
He's actually just now exiting the pit lane, came in to top off under this caution flag and put 4 fresh tires on it. Might as well if you're running towards the back of this lead pack. We have seen a lot of comers and goers, you mentioned, just actually now taking a halfway point in this race. So there's still some time for the 94's luck to go the other way and for him to climb the ladder, but definitely not looking too good right now, for E.J. O'Rourke in the number 94 machine, especially when you consider Rhett McBride being second in the championship standings.
McBride 40 back, Jonathan Cadell third, 95 markers back, Thomas George fourth in the standings. He's over 100 points back, and Scott Simley, we mentioned him earlier, fifth in points, 118 back right now, and this points battle is going to get shaken up tonight unless that 94 machine can work back towards the front of this field. And I'll tell you right now, we've got trouble back in the pack as we were going green flag, but about 4 cars get squirrely, and that is a mess right back there around the middle of the pack.
And now the caution is going to fly, wrecking now down the front straightaway. Multiple cars involved. Brian Harvey with damage, and the 13 machine is the worst of it. Michael Woolley is smoking up against the outside wall, came flying through there, got on the brakes and got punted by the one car who was getting back up to speed. Woolley checking up for the incidents in front of him, goes up the track, gets into the 66 machine. He spins into the outside wall. A big mess on that restart, and again, quickly for the second time this evening, trouble on a restart, going to put us back under the yellow flag.
That is not what we wanted to see right there. That was a disaster that found a place to happen, unfortunately, and it looked like Evan that started around the 58 of Justin Wilson. Not sure if he was the car that actually got into somebody to start that, but I'm hearing several guys come over the radio right now and say the 58 was a big part of how that stack up right there on the restart got started.
And the 58 they will be talking about is Justin Wilson. Wilson was starting on the outside row and trying to take a look to see what that 58 did. And again, don't really see a lot by the 58. It appears that the first car that gets sideways is the 42 of Scott Stenzel, who was running up close and got a huge run on the 31 machine, who was slow on restart. 31 of Eric Arnold kind of lost pace with the caution speed there on the restart. Checked up the 42 and the 1 got together, and it went back from there. So not sure what the speak is of the 58 of Justin Wilson, but it appears that the 42 had to check up for Eric Arnold, and Eric Arnold again just lost a bunch of speed and checked everybody up behind him. Nonetheless, doesn't really matter. We're back under yellow, and there's a lot of drivers that are torn up that should not be at this point.
And while we've got the opportunity, go ahead and slide another commercial in here. We'll get mid-race update in here. We're just past halfway, 62 laps complete of 120 here tonight. And right here from Kentucky Speedway, this is the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series on LSRTV. We'll be back.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
All right, welcome back, LSRTV, and tonight's broadcast of the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. Garry, Mercer 180 from Kentucky Speedway, Jacob Seelman and Evan Pasoko up here in the broadcast booth as we are working lap number 65 of 120. Matt Lacrosse, your race leader, and providing we can get back to green flag racing, we might finally be able to get a full field rundown here just past the halfway point. Going to see we've had a rash of cautions here over the last 15 laps or so, up to 7 cautions for we're going to be 25 laps by the time we go back to green flag racing. Cross, Terrell, Cadell, Murray, LeVere, your 5, Justin Wilson in 6th, Eric Arnold 7th, Mark Bratcher 8th, Brandon Peterson 9th, and Steve Gottschalk going to be your first 5 rows for this green flag restart. Going to come with 55 laps to go as Matt Lacrosse looking very, very dominant right now in that number 21 machine, looking to go to victory lane here in the Bluegrass State. And he is going to lead this field as the pace car makes the hard left peel to pit road. Lacrosse stomps on the hammer, and it looks like the 17 of Jonathan Cadell did not get a good restart as he falls way off the back bumper of the 21. Matt Lacrosse with a 5-car length lead as Cadell now going for second on Bobby Terrell as they head to turn 1.
Terrell's going to get on the outside, but that 60 had no much better of a restart than the 17 did. Now top 5 single file out and single file through the top 10. The challenger is coming from the outside of the top 10. The 78 of Brandon Peterson covered up side by side with the 5 of Mark Bratcher at turn number 4. Bratcher on the outside lane is going to get a run down the front straightaway. Advantage still to Peterson at the stripe.
Peterson's going to make that pass in turn number 1 and move into the 8th position and try to bring, if you can believe this, Adam Benefiel in the 85 machine with him, trying to make the challenge for 9th place here at lap number 67. That is a recovery that I did not expect we would see here tonight, but Benefiel having a great drive coming from the back of this field, coming to complete lap number 67, and he is all over Peterson, looking to the inside for 8th as they head to turn 1.
He was scored 9th. He wants 8th. He was slipping and sliding, going up down the racetrack, down the front straightaway, trying to fake that 78 out. He gets a run side by side, nearly clears the 78 of Brandon Peterson. Can't quite get it done this time. By now into 3 and 4. The 85 of Adam Benefiel going to go from outside the top 25 just laps ago and clear that side-by-side battle to position number 8.
And while we've got a moment here, working lap number 69 of 120. It's a little bit past halfway, but we're going to get a Garry Mercer Trucking full field rundown right here, just past halfway. Matt Lacrosse, your race leader, by about 6 car lengths over Bobby Terrell in second. Jonathan Cadell rides in third with Justin Wilson in fourth and C.J. LeVere fifth. Dan Murray rides 6th right now. Eric Arnold 7th. Adam Benefiel, as we just documented, worked his way up to 8th position. Mark Bratcher in 9th, and 10th is the 78, Evan, of Brandon Peterson.
Brandon Peterson now drops back to 11th as Nathan Little takes a number 10 spot. Steve Gottschalk riding around in 12th. 13th belongs to Kevin Linden as he has a challenge of the 29 of Brendan Mercer, who currently sits 14th. Scott Simley just behind them in 15th. Jose Gonzalez occupies 16th. 17th belonging to the 94 of E.J. O'Rourke. LD Serapia in 18th. Scott Stenzel in 19th. And Jason Lester rounds out the top 20.
21st is the 03 of Nathan Bowers at the moment. 22nd, the 1 of Thomas J. George. He was up towards the top 5 in the early stages of this race. 23rd, the 65 of Ed Williams Jr. The last car on the lead lap. In 24th, the 30 of Jason White. The rest of these cars multiple laps down. 25th, the 13 of Michael Woolley. 26th, the 66 of Brian Harvey. 27th, the 82 of Jamie Moore out of this race. The other 3 cars out of this race as well. 28th, the 15 of Keith Brooks Jr. 29th, Ben Burnett. And 30th, Michael Gray, who went out just 10 laps into tonight's action. That is a look at your full field rundown presented by Garry Mercer Trucking, as we are now 72 laps into this 120-lap, 180-mile event here at Kentucky Speedway. Evan, just 48 laps to go. It's getting towards crunch time.
They call him Here Comes Bobby, and that's because he closes late in the going, and now he is starting to close in on Matt Lacrosse. Bobby Terrell riding in the number 60 machine, subbing tonight for John Higman Jr. is reeling in that 21 of Matt Lacrosse up at the front of this field. It's only 2/10 that last time by the stripe. Looks like he picks up at least a car length or two with a great run down to back straightaway. Bobby Terrell is closing in quick for the number 1 spot as Matt Lacrosse tries to figure out a way to hold off that 60.
And we're going to go on board right here with the 60 of Terrell and see if we can't keep an eye on what he's seeing right now and see what he's seeing as he tries to chase down your race leader, Matt Lacrosse, right now. That 60 of Terrell, Evan, he has looked very, very strong throughout the latter stage of this race. About lap 50, we saw that car start to move its way from about 6th all the way up into the top 3, and Terrell now once again trying to assert himself to the front of this field for the first time tonight.
And he shaves off about half a tenth, and now this time by scoring good update, and again another half of a tenth of a second gone from Matt Lacrosse's lead. It looks like 2 car lengths, now 1 car length. A huge run, great navigation from the 60 through corner number 2. He's got a huge run even to the bottom. Takes a look at car length now as all that separates the top 2 of the racetrack as they pull away from Cadell by about half a second. Terrell has a flying machine, man. He gets up to the back bumper, the 21 of Matt Lacrosse to the bottom. Here comes Bobby Terrell side by side for P1 into turn number 1.
That battle for the lead continues to rage down in turns 1 and 2. Outside goes the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, trying to hold the momentum up on the top. Now, the inside is Bobby Terrell. That's going to draw the 17 of Jonathan Kettle. Right to him. It's a 3-car freight train battle for the lead as they work into turn number 3. This time, Terrell's going to get the better of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse and try to bring Cadell with him. 3 wide now for second off turn number 4. The 58 of Justin Wilson tries to stick the nose in there. 3 wide, thinks better of it, settles back in. But Cadell going to go to P2 and drop Matt Lacrosse from first to third in a lap and a half. Trying to drop him one more as Justin Wilson powers to the inside off turn 2.
Wilson with a nose length lead should get it, and he does. Into turn number 3, Matt Lacrosse drops back to 4th, where he finds the 4, CJ LeVere, continuing to try to move forward on this field as his car has only gotten better and better as this race progresses. And they side by side now. Caution on the racetrack as trouble down the front straightaway. It's the 5 of Mark Bratcher.
So Bratcher going to get caught up right here, coming to the start-finish line, and that's going to put us under caution for the 8th time in tonight's event, with going to be 78 laps complete. And how about that move just before the caution flag came out, Evan? Bobby Terrell, a power move to the inside. He caught Matt Lacrosse, and he was not content to sit and ride second. He wanted the lead, and he asserted who the dominant car was, at least on that short stint. 60 for the first time tonight is out in front and looks like it's getting ready to lead this field on to pit road.
Yeah, he was able to go wherever you want. Bobby Terrell, you gotta love it when you have a race car like that as he leads them down pit road. So we're gonna have to see if we see any tire strategy here and who exits into number 1 spot. But again, Bobby Terrell, he didn't have to ride the high lane to work up his momentum. He could dive it low and he still had a run. So a very strong machine for Bobby Terrell as he again leads us down into pit road as the 17 of Jonathan Cadell first to hit his salt for the top 3, and now the 60 pulls it in as well.
So we're going to see, we're thinking it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for all of these race leaders. Right sides going on. The number 60 of Bobby Terrell, they drop the jack, move over to the left side. It will indeed be 4 tires and 2 cans of Sunoco race fuel as Terrell doesn't quite get as good a run off the pit lane. He's going to lose 2 spots right here. Jonathan Cadell grabs the race lead, and it looks like the 58 of Justin Wilson grabs a spot to go to second. And I'll tell you right now, Jonathan Cadell had a great pit stop, 14.3 seconds. I'm looking back through this field, though. Evan, I don't even see the 21 now of Matt Lacrosse. It looks like he is not even going to be in the top 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we saw cars leave before, I was expecting Matt Lacrosse to be one of those contenders, but he had to stop, and he did not leave his pit stall until a whole bunch of the other machines had left. So it might have been damage repair, may have been a penalty served to Matt Lacrosse, but nonetheless, he's going to drop well outside of the top 10.
And I'm watching right here, Bobby Terrell on the access road. I'm wondering if he may be coming back down pit road right now.
He got beat off by Jonathan Cadell in the 58 of Justin Wilson, and he will now pull back up onto the racetrack. Wasn't sure if Terrell may have gotten a penalty or something that he needed to come down and serve, but he pulls back out on the racetrack, and he currently sits in 3rd. So Bobby Terrell enters first, exits 3rd, but I tell you, if his machine is as fast as it was on that last run, the 60 machine should be up there challenging for the number 1 spot in no time.
And we're going to try to get a word here in just a moment with the 21 of Matt Lacrosse after that pit stop. A very, very tough break for that 21. Coming in the top 3, and it looks like he's going to cycle through right here to the 21st position. So he is going to have a long way to come. And Evan, right now, the problem he runs into, we're down to 40 laps to go.
Yeah, whatever it was, he is 21st spot, and I believe we have a copy with him on the radio.
Matt Lacrosse, Jacob Seelman up in the LSRTV booth. You came in the top 3, and now all of a sudden you find yourself in 21st. What happened on that pit stop?
When I was leading, I nicked the wall a little bit, and it gave me about 35, 40 seconds of damage. And I was like, and they were catching me after that. I think I might have slowed the car down just a touch, enough to not be competitive. So I was like, you know what, there's no way I'm going to win with the damage and stay up there. I'll probably just get freight trained. So I decided to come in and get it fixed and see if we can't work it back up there. We got 40 laps, and we'll see what we can do.
What kind of new challenges is this going to pose for you on this restart? We've seen you be really good out in front of this field, but now you're going to have to work your way through traffic. Is that of any major concern for you, or are you guys confident that you've got the speed to be able to work your way through to get back up and challenge for this win?
Well, I got to kind of be patient, but there's only 40 laps, and if it goes caution-free, those 40 laps are going to go by fairly quick. So I haven't raced much tonight with any of these guys back here. I'll try to pick my spots and put my car in a good position to go to the front, and we'll see what we can do.
Field's doubling up. We'll let you get back in the headspace, Matt. Good luck to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you get back up towards the front.
10-4, thanks, appreciate it.
All right, Evan, as we get set to go back to green flag racing right here, it's going to be a new look top 5. Jonathan Cadell, Justin Wilson, Bobby Terrell, CJ LeVere, Dan Murray. Guys we've talked about all night long, but not necessarily in this landscape for the restart. And it's the first time we're going to see Justin Wilson on the front row tonight. How does this change the look for some of these guys, especially some of the guys like EJ O'Rourke, Matt Lacrosse? You've got fast guys coming from the back now.
That's just only going to make it more exciting. Again, you mentioned at the start of the race that we had a lot of heavy hitters up front, but there were a couple guys spread throughout this field. We're going to see the same thing, but instead of having 120 laps, those guys at the back of the field know there's less than 40. They're going to be digging hard. They're going to be diving and weaving. Not only are we going to see a great battle for the lead, but I want to see how some of these guys can close it out. How about CJ LeVere, top 4 for the number 4 car. Keep moving up.
He's been doing that all night long. And give a call to Adam Benefiel in the 85. Was outside the top 20 after a crash and heavy front-end damage. They got that machine repaired, and he is now back in the top 6. Has a shot to win this race, but the pace car makes the peel to pit road. Field is in the hands of Jonathan Cadell. He gets on the gas, but he's going to have a challenge from Justin Wilson, who drops right to the bottom, falls in his tire tracks. Green flag back in the air, the top 3. Getaway single file. First battle is for 4th, Dan Murray and CJ LeVere going at it. LeVere on the high side, trying to use the momentum, but can't hold it right there, and is going to allow the 55 of Dan Murray to pull by about a car length down the back straightaway.
Battle for the lead. 58 Justin Wilson to the bottom at around the 17 of Jonathan Cadell after getting one of the best restarts that we've seen for a driver who's been restarting on the outside of row number 1 all night long. He leads that time by as Justin Wilson puts the 58 on point, capitalizing on a mistake from Jonathan Cadell out of turn number 2. And now Dan Murray, he wants position number 3 for the 60 of Bobby Terrell. He's going to get it at a 2, can't quite clear him, and now Terrell lets him go down the back.
Keep an eye on the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. He picked off 3 cars on that opening lap right now. He's going to pick off at least 1 more as he goes around the 11 of LD Sarabia. Maybe going to pick off 2 more. The next car in his sights, the 48 of Kevin Linden. He is, and now the 11 of Sarabia going to come back around him. The crossover down the front straightaway. So Lacrosse right now struggling in traffic. He's picked up 4 spots in the 2 laps since the restart. But that move by Sarabia, I think, caught him a little bit off guard because Lacrosse fell about 3 car lengths back right now.
21 continuing to try to negotiate, but you're right, he is not flying by these guys at all, not making quick work like he needs to. Has a little bit of a run on that 11 machine now down the front straightaway as side by side in front of them. The 48 of Kevin Linden passes the 78 of Brandon Peterson. Now the 21 roll across around the 11 of LD Sarabia, slides up in front of him and clears him off the corner. Still a long way to go. He's up to P16.
And again, like you said, he's got a long way to come, though. And I would keep an eye on this battle for the lead right now. We have got 7 cars within 1 second of each other. Lacrosse trying to join them, but the battle is going to be between Cadell, Murray, Terrell, and we've got trouble in the back of the pack, and Lacrosse is right in the middle of it. 4 cars, 5 cars now, up into the safer barrier in turns 1 and 2. I didn't quite catch how that got started, but Lacrosse ended up right in the middle of it, and it looks like some damage to the front end of that number 21 machine, but about 6 cars getting together at the end of the front straightaway, and about 4 of them end up into the outside wall in turns 1 and 2. Tough break for a lot of guys right here, including that 21 of Matt Lacrosse.
Now, Matt Lacrosse, not sure what the strategy is, but 21 comes out of 4, and drives nearly to the grass in the front straightaway and then just comes up the track and takes out the 78. He locks it up, but he gets that front end damage, and then they both go up the track. The 11 of LD Sarabia, heavy contact. That 30 machine once again getting involved in an incident here this evening after getting front end damage earlier. That's Jason White. The 1 machine piles on into it as well. That's Thomas George. After Matt Lacrosse tries to throw a Hail Mary move to the bottom, doesn't work out. He leaves possibly with the least amount of damage out of all of them, but he is 15th right now, and he came down for repairs, and that 21 machine has that front-end damage once again, which could hinder his ability to try to make these passes that he needs to in the closing laps.
That damage, though, to the 21 does not look as severe as I originally thought it did, Evan. He may be able to go get some quick repairs to the front end of that Ford machine and get back out right away, because that 21 has been a fast car all night, and it looks like he's going to have a chance right here because everybody is coming down pit road except for a couple of cars. I think the 92 of Jason Lester, the first car that stays out from 18th position.
Taking a look through the field, 92 looks like he may have thrown a fake the opposite way because he has come down pit road towards the tail end of the lead lap. Jose Gonzalez has stayed out. He sits in the number 1 spot. The 41 sits out as well. That is Nathan Little. Both those cars have some damage on them, but the 26-41 elect not to pit. They currently sit in positions number 1 and 2 as Jonathan Cadell enters pit road in the number 1 spot. He'll leave there as well.
Cadell, a nice pit stop right there in that number 17 machine. They have been solid all night long on pit road. 2 tires on CJ LeVere and Eric Arnold. 8-second pit stops for both the 4 and the 31. So a little bit of strategy starting to go on right here. And Evan, now would be the time. If you're going to play a strategy, you need to start doing it because we are down to 32 laps to go in this race here at Kentucky Speedway. And you're going to start running out of time to make these moves. You need track position, and if you don't have it, you've got to start getting creative as far as ways to get towards the front.
Matt Lacrosse is going to take responsibility for the caution, which will result in an EOL penalty to the end of the longest line all the way back on this restart. You talk about strategy. How about Jose Gonzalez in the number 1 spot? Did not come back down this time by. Didn't pivot the field the last time by. The 26 is in the number 1 position. Second place machine is Nathan Little. Both those guys with no tires. We see CJ LeVere running a 2-tire strategy, and the 31 of Eric Arnold is right there alongside him on the other side of that outside of second row. So front row, no tires. Second row, 2 tires. And then Jonathan Cadell in the number 17 machine on the inside of row number 3. He came down, took 4 fresh tires. This will be fun.
I'd say those front 4, this is what you say. This is when you say that these guys are starting to throw the Hail Marys at it, because if you don't have a car that can win it on sheer speed, you want to try to win it on a strategy call. Gonzalez, Little, LeVere, Arnold. I don't think we've talked about any of those guys as being able to get up and contend for the lead on sheer speed alone. This is really, especially for a guy like Jose Gonzalez, this is their only shot to win this race.
Yeah, they're throwing pretty much everything but the kitchen sink at it at this point, and not adjustment-wise. But you got to think, can they ride this out? They're obviously going to be wanting to bank on cautions to be able to stay up there, but there's still a fair chunk of this race to go. We're just past the 2/3 mark. You're going to have in a range of maybe 30, 29 laps to go on the restart. That's a long time. We've seen pit cycles go that far, depending on how the cautions fly, like we did earlier in the race. They could possibly just be trying to stay up here, hope for a caution about midway, and pray that they're in a higher spot than it would have been if they pitted back at the back of the pack, then take 4 tires, see what they can do with it. But it'll be interesting to see what Jose Gonzalez can do. He's going to be the control car. We've seen some tire spin issues with him earlier on in this race when he's on fresh tires. So we'll see what that 26 Chevrolet can do. And then that 41 on 8th and Little, that machine looks pretty torn up. It's had its fair share of some damage in this evening's race. So we're going to be on the edge of our seats, to say the least, to see what's going to happen on this next restart. And then don't forget, CJ LeVere has been powering through this field and has been chipping away, and now he is third. He has entered the top 3. He's on 2 tires, along with the Navy Nuke of Eric Arnold. And then it's 4 fresh Goodyear tires from there on back.
And I think you're going to see 4 tires cut a swath through this field relatively quickly, led by the 17 of Jonathan Cadell. And I'll be honest, keep an eye on the 85 of Adam Benefiel. I know I've been saying that a lot here in the last 15-20 laps, but Benefiel, after the repairs to that race car, it is pretty much as good as new, and that machine has been every bit as fast as it was to start off this evening. Benefiel in that 85 machine, he may still have a shot to win this race if he can work through some of this traffic. That is going to be the key. But right now, the field working into turn number 4, and the field about to be in the hands of Jose Gonzalez and Nathan Little. That's your front row. CJ LeVere, Eric Arnold behind them in row 2. Then it's Jonathan Cadell and Dan Murray. 3 rows, 3 very different tire strategies. Jose Gonzalez jumps right on the gas.
Great
Green
start.
flag in the air. Great start by the 26 of Gonzalez. He pulls 7 car lengths ahead of the number 4 of CJ LeVere. But Cadell in that 17 machine goes 3 wide to turn number 1. He'll pick off 3 cars and go to 3rd by the time they exit turn 2.
Jonathan Cadell straight flying out of turn number 2, gets up to position number 3. CJ LeVere sits 2nd on 2 tires, and then Jose Gonzalez on none at the front of the field. 26, that back end is trying to go every which way but straight, and now a huge run for CJ LeVere down the front straightaway. Expect him to make a move to the bottom. He goes in turn number 1, and CJ LeVere from position number 17 to the number 1 spot as he gets around Jose Gonzalez, but knock, Jonathan Cadell, look who's coming. He's closing quick in 3rd.
He is closing rapidly, and with him the number 31, the Navy Nuke of Eric Arnold. That machine is on the prowl as well, and Cadell gets a little bit loose off turn number 4. It's going to allow the 31 of Eric Arnold to close right up to the rear bumper of that number 17, and it's going to allow CJ LeVere to have a little bit of breathing space out front of the number 4. Meanwhile, behind them, the battle for 5th has been hot and heavy over the last 2 laps, and it goes right now to the 60 of Bobby Terrell. Adam Benefiel in the 85 moving forward. Oh boy, it's getting good, Evan, as they work back into 3 and 4.
Yeah, we were bumper to bumper from 4th on back, and a couple guys got real loose there at turn number 2. Everybody able to hang on for the time being. One of those guys was Adam Benefiel. Remember, the 85 dropped to the tail end of the lead lap. He now sits in position number 6 as they run right now on the racetrack. 21 of Matt Lacrosse, no such luck. Still sitting in 18th after getting an EOL for causing the last caution. Battle now for 4th, Adam Benefiel. Or rather the 31 of Eric Arnold, it's Bobby Terrell in the number 60 machine around him. And now here comes Adam Benefiel trying to close in on the Navy Nuke as well. Almost to the apron, side by side for position number 5.
Eric Arnold tried to slam the door on Adam Benefiel, and Benefiel was not having any of that. All the way down to the grass he went to try and make that pass, and he'll grab the 5th spot away. And I'll tell you what, keep an eye on Bobby Terrell right here, because he and Benefiel, it's been Terrell making the holes and Benefiel following him through. And Terrell has the fastest car on the racetrack right now. He has closed up on this battle for the lead. Give a call to Jose Gonzalez, though, on no tires. He is hung into that 2nd position as they work back to turn 1. Terrell trying to march.
These drivers know that this is closing down to the finish here, and the intensity level has picked up. Top 3 are separated by a car length. That's CJ LeVere with 2 tires. How about Jose Gonzalez on no tires, hanging tough with these leaders at a 17 of Jonathan Cadell, who blew 3 guys out of the water in 1 turn on the restart, closing very quickly in 3rd, trying to get to the number 1 spot. It's going to be a dogfight up front.
It is going to be a dogfight. It's already a dogfight. Charge off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Bobby Terrell on the march. He's trying to get to the inside of the 17 of Jonathan Cadell. He shows him the wheel in turns 3 and 4. They're side by side now. Terrell trying to dive to the bottom, but Cadell uses the momentum on the outside lane to clear him and keep that third position. Now, the driver with all the momentum back to 1 is Adam Benefield. He closes on the back bumper of the 60. That's the battle for 4th.
Benefield trying to find a way by Bobby Terrell. Swings high off the quarter, not enough of a run. There goes Jonathan Cadell for second to the bottom and clear of Jose Gonzalez in about 2 seconds. Very quickly now Jose trying to make a crossover to the bottom. He does, but can he get enough speed? 17's gonna shut the door. Jonathan Cadell slices him off for second.
I'll tell you, these guys are starting to chop each other more and more, and it's only a matter of time before somebody tries the chop and cuts across the bumper of the car they are trying to block. How about Jose Gonzalez? He has hung tough in that top 3 right now, and CJ LeVere, he's loving this. He's watching them all battle for second and saying, you guys do what you're doing. Oh, we got one car almost around off turn number 4. I believe that was the 42 of Scott Stenzel. Barely hangs on to it as he comes to the start-finish line. He's going to lose a couple of positions right there, but hangs on to it, and somehow we stay green, Evan. He was so loose off turn 4, there was tires squealing and tire smoke.
Jose wants second back. He looks to the inside and nearly spins that car out with that aggressive move to the bottom. Keeps the nose there. Tries to put the pressure on Jonathan Cadell. Cadell hangs on at a turn number 4. Keep in mind, Bobby Terrell right behind these guys in the number 4 spot. Second through 4th continue to battle, and for the battle to connect 4th on back because Benefield closes now at a number 5 spot on Terrell. Terrell sideways off the corner, and the 85 of Adam Benefield spins it out. Caution flag flies as Terrell was about to spin it out. The 85 of Benefield had to get on the brakes and gets clipped by the 58 machine of Justin Wilson. Benefield around once again keeps it out of the wall, but he just cannot catch a break. And now, you thought that was exciting. We're going to group them back up within 20 to go.
And if you're Jose Gonzalez, this is the perfect scenario for you. You did not have a shot to win this race from where you were outside the top 10. You use a no-tire strategy to get inside the top 3, and now you have a shot to come down, get on the same strategy, and go to win this race. And just watching this accident one more time, Evan, that the 85 of Benefield, when the 60 got on the binders, he just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and it was almost going to be another one of our textbook situations where somebody gets sideways and he just gets finished off by the guy that's riding around just a little bit behind him to the side that has nowhere to go. And Benefield did a good job of getting out of the way of a very loose machine in front of him. Unfortunately enough for him, Justin Wilson, trying to take advantage of whatever he could do, had to run on the high side, that evidently got into him. So that's what brings out another caution. But again, a good job for keeping that car off the wall. Adam Benefield could have been into the inside wall for what could have been a 3rd time this race, and the 85 once again does a solid job. Different pit strategies. CJ LeVere stays out, Jonathan Cadell goes down pit road, Jose Gonzalez stays out, and pretty much everybody from there on back is on pit road.
Now, this time I definitely disagree with that strategy. I think the 4 and the 26, they got their track position on the last pit stop, and I don't think you stay out and win that race right here. I think if you're CJ LeVere and Jose Gonzalez, Evan, why wouldn't you want to come on and take fresh tires and be on level with these leaders? Really, really unfortunate, because that's a tough call, and I don't know that that's going to win you the race right there. I think CJ LeVere and Jose Gonzalez might just be sitting ducks now.
I think you're right. Jose did what he needed to do, and it was one of the scenarios that I mentioned. That was, you hope for a caution to split this run in half, then you pit and you're on the same cycle as everybody else. He stays out along with CJ LeVere, and again, that's one of the challenges of guys up at the front of the field, is especially for LeVere. If you pit, everybody else behind you could stay out. But I mean, Jose Gonzalez was on track for coming down pit road. He was behind Jonathan Cadell, and then he decided to step out of line. Not sure what the last second decision is, but I think Jose Gonzalez definitely should have came down pit road, and that would have made his strategy work out perfectly. Now, to give him credit, he did hang on pretty well with those guys on no tires the first time, but we saw how fast Cadell was. He's just going to have that much more of an advantage over the top two, and I don't think that CJ Lavere or Jose Gonzalez are going to stand much of a chance to that 17 after that round.
So when we go back to green, as soon as we get a scoring update right here, which should happen momentarily, it's going to line up like this. CJ Lavere, your race leader. Jose Gonzalez is going to join him on the front row. Then it's going to be Jonathan Cadell and Justin Wilson in row number 2. Bobby Terrell. And how about the charge by the 94 of E.J. O'Rourke? Getting that Eric Brundy's number 94 machine back inside the top 10 for the first time since before halfway, if memory serves me correctly. O'Rourke, nice rebound tonight in that 94. Dan Murray, Eric Arnold, Scott Stenzel, and get this, Evan, Matt Lacrosse now inside the top 10.
Matt Lacrosse is going to get another shot at this, and him along with Adam Benefiel have had everything thrown at them tonight. They've been forward, they've been backwards, and done it all over again, and now Matt Lacrosse trying to close it out. He only sits on 2 Goodyear tires, took right sides only on his pit stop to gain him that track position, and that's one of the beauties of this racing is there's so many different strategies that can get thrown into this, and while these guys are thinking of all this, they're also thinking of the fact that they got to get out there and race. So Matt Lacrosse on 2 tires has re-entered the top 10, but he wasn't flying around guys back in the pack. I think his car's not as strong in traffic and won't be as stout as it was when we saw him up front earlier in the going. So we'll have to see how that works out. Appears like the field's doubling up. Expect the lights to go out this time by, and we'll get a restart to take lap 106.
And you saw it coming down the back straightaway, but I want to make it a point to mention that lineup we gave you is going to shift ever so slightly. Bobby Terrell credited with causing that most recent caution. He will drop to the tail of the longest line for this restart. Tough break for that number 60 machine. But, Evan, it's hard for us to sit here and analyze the calls, but in this case, I don't think you can call that any other way, because really, if it weren't for the number 60 starting to go around, somehow he manages to save it. But that's really what sparked that entire mess down the back straightaway.
And it's tough not only for him, but again, you come into a race as a substitute driver with added pressure. Bobby Terrell subbing tonight for John Higman Jr. You want to do a good job, and you want to get John Higman Jr. and his crew on track, and they were for that team's 4th top 5 on the season. Terrell, again, here comes Bobby, likes to close it in at the end, was well in contention for this win. Looked like he dodged a bullet by saving it, but again, same deal as Matt Lacrosse, gonna have to go to the back of the pack. I don't see that car coming back up front with less than 15, actually it will be 15 laps to go on this restart. I think he's gonna be out of time.
It's going to be a good old-fashioned shootout right here. CJ Lavere and Jose Gonzalez going to be on the front row as we get set to go back to green flag racing on old tires. Jonathan Cadell, Justin Wilson, E.J. O'Rourke, Dan Murray. Those are your front 6 right now. And I'll tell you, Lavere trying to get on the gas. A little bit of tire spin by the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. The driver really coming up the middle on the restart. The 94 of E.J. O'Rourke pile driving it to the inside, down to turn number 1. He's going to get all the way to 3rd by the time they get off 2. And Justin Wilson going to surge as the 26 of Jose Gonzalez go in the wrong direction in a hurry.
It's over. Here comes that 17. Jonathan Cadell flying through the field, and CJ was hoping Jose would have a good start because he'd have a pick on him, but 17 of Cadell is going to capitalize. CJ Lavere squarely off the corner, and new race leader on those 4 fresh Goodyears is going to be Jonathan Cadell. He's bringing that 94 of E.J. O'Rourke in tow. O'Rourke with trouble on the bottom gets into the 58 of Wilson, trying to find a way around. Is a terrible corner for E.J. O'Rourke. It's going to cost him 2-3 spots.
O'Rourke just trying to get it back in line right here, as now that might be all the break Jonathan Cadell needs. Battle for second off turn number 4. The 58 of Justin Wilson inside of the 4 of CJ LeVere. That's side by side as they head back to turn 1. And how about the 31 of Eric Arnold, the Navy Duke? He's gotten his way back to 4th place right now. Side by side behind the 94 for 6. Scott Stenzel, Dan Murray going at it as now the Navy Nuke goes to the high side of the 4 of CJ LeVere to make the pass for 3rd. LeVere trying to get some bite on the bottom of the racetrack, blocks in the 94. And that is going to be a 4-car scramble, 3 wide. Scott Stenzel to the inside.
Stenzel capitalizes and he throws it in, gets into the 4 of LeVere. They hang on to it for now, 3 wide. Now at a turn number 2 as everybody tries to hang on, and they're wrecking the 94, EJ O'Rourke, Jose Gonzalez. They all pile him into the wall down the back straightaway.
And that's a huge, huge hit right there for the 94 of EJ O'Rourke. Heavy, heavy damage to that machine. Caution is out with 11 laps to go. 109 going up on the board and about 5 cars in the top 10 involved in that. That was sparked when I believe the 31 of Eric Arnold, I believe, was the first car to get a little bit squirrely, and from there, Evan, it was just a mess.
Yeah, that was ugly, and that wasn't going to work, and it all stems from the contact with the 42 of Stenzel after the 94 lost speed going at a 4, and they make contact, and no harm, no foul, but Eric Arnold goes way up the racetrack. Jose Gonzalez with a huge run. Things get real tight, and then the 31 of Eric Arnold, the Navy Duke, appears to come off the wall, get into EJ O'Rourke, collects Jose Gonzalez. The 55 gets turned. A whole bunch of these guys that have ran top 5 all race long are going to lose it within 20 laps of the checkered flag, and they are all torn up. And again, big championship implications. The 94 of EJ O'Rourke driving for championship leader Eric Brundys just got his night destroyed after being in contention for the win. Pit road is open. Doesn't look like a lot of takers. Nobody from the top 10 going to come down. The first car in is Steve Gottschalk, who was 10th. And now it's going to set up once again another shootout with inside of 10 laps to go, where Jonathan Cadell may have this thing locked up. He's got Justin Wilson on 4 tires as well, going to be starting alongside him. And then CJ LeVere, again, no tires, and only took 2 tires the last time he came through, so hasn't got fresh tires on the left side of that machine, and 2 cycles through pit road, sits in 3rd.
All right. We need a minute to catch our breath before we go back to green flag racing, Evan, I think. So we're going to slide in one final commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to take you all the way to the checkered flag in the Garry Mercer 180. But first, these messages for here at Kentucky Speedway. This is LSRTV. Stay with us.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Hang on to your hats. This is about to get good. Welcome back to LSRTV here at Kentucky Speedway for tonight's RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. Garry Mercer 180, race 14 of the Full Throttle Cup Series season. Jacob Seelman, Evan Pasoko getting ready for the final few miles in tonight's event. And Jonathan Cadell, Justin Wilson getting ready to gear up from the front row. And Evan, just as we're getting ready to go back to green, how about the run by Scott Stenzel? All of a sudden he's up in 4th place, and Matt Lacrosse in 6th for this restart.
You got Matt Lacrosse in 6th, Adam Benefiel inside on row number 3 in the 5th spot. You mentioned the 42 of Stenzel with a battered race car. You got Lavero there on old tires, and you got the front 2 on 4 fresh Goodyears. This will be fun.
Oh, by the way, you want to talk about guys? Benefiel's come from the back. Lacrosse has come from the back. Justin Wilson's come from the back. This is about to be good, and it's going to be Jonathan Cadell leading the field to the green flag. He gets a decent start as the 4 of C.J. Lavera. A lot of tire spin. Justin Wilson, though, right in the tire tracks of the 17, and they're going to be wheel to wheel as they go back to 1. Wilson trying to make the high lane work for the first time all night.
Door to door off the corner, he's going to get the run advantage to Justin Wilson, and to the point goes the 58 on the outside lane in 1 and 2. A power move puts the 58 to the number 1 spot. The 17 of Jonathan Cadell, he's not ready to roll over and give it up. Half a car length to the front stretch.
I did not think we would see that at all. An outside pass for the lead, and keep an eye out. But Scott Stenzel in the number 42 was the fastest car on the racetrack last time around. As we work lap 114, we're coming to 5 laps to go. Stenzel might be the one in the catbird seat. He is closing on this front duo as we come 5 laps to go, and the top 3 under a blanket.
Cadell is at the bumper. 2 car lengths back is Stenzel. In 3rd, the 58 of Wilson to the point. 17 looks low. That's Jonathan Cadell. 58 slides down and shuts the door as Justin Wilson sees 5 to go, and he tries to hold him off now down to back straightaway. 1 car length separate the top 3. Does anybody have anything for the 58 of Wilson? Getting up to the bumper is one thing, but executing a pass is a whole different ball game. Good run by Cadell off of turn number 4. It's Justin Wilson with 4 to go.
Wilson holding about a half a car length of separation between his rear bumper and the front bumper of the 17 of Jonathan Cadell. Scott Stenzel lying in wait. If either one of them makes a mistake, Wilson gets a little bit loose off turn 2. Here comes Jonathan Cadell to the inside. They're door to door as we come to 3 laps to go. Cadell gets a little bit loose as we work off turn number 4. He couldn't hold it down there. Justin Wilson back to the lead and extends it to 2 car lengths. Now the battles for second. Here comes Scott Stenzel, 3 to go.
And here comes the 85 of Adam Benefiel into the picture as the top 4 start to pull away from the field. Cadell's trying to give it. He can't get the grip. 42 to the bottom. Scott Stenzel side by side for second. He backs out of it. Now the 17 of Cadell overdrives 3, pushes high. The 42 of Stenzel tries to hang on. He can't get the grip to the rear tires. And as they go door to door for second with 2 to go, Justin Wilson is pulling away.
He is loving this right here. Stenzel trying to complete the pass for second. He executes in turn 2, gets the power down. The problem is he has given up too much time. Matt Lacrosse gets way loose off turn 2. He heads down for the apron, inside wall. He's trying, I think he might be able to hang on to it, but Justin Wilson coming off turn 4. White flag going in the wind for the final time.
Cadell now crosses the stripe. The gap is half a second. Back to the 42 of Scott Stenzel. Side by side for third on back. Benefiel trying to hold off the 4 of Blair. And a 17 of Jonathan Cadell as well, as it's a 4-car battle for third, but Wilson sails it off in 3 and 4 for the final time.
Justin Wilson, 8 career wins in RSR competition. Scott Stenzel buries it in turn 3. They're 3 wide behind him for 4th, but it's not going to be too little too late. Justin Wilson going to victory lane. He wins the Garry Mercer 180 at Kentucky. Scott Stenzel second, Adam Benefiel third, fourth was a drag race, and I'm seeing scoring. CJ LeVere gets it by 1/1000th of a second over Scott Simley. Where did he come from to complete the top 5?
And Jonathan Cadell wrecked that 17 coming to the stripe. Gave it everything he had. He was sideways and just stayed in the gas and was able to edge out Mark Bratcher 4-6 as the 17 ends up in the fence when it is all said and done. But Justin Wilson is going to burn it down on the front straightaway. You can tell he's happy behind that 58 machine. What a power move to get to the number 1 spot in turns 1 and 2. The first time we've seen anybody power by on the outside lane all night long. It's for the checkered flag.
I'll tell you what, a power move by Justin Wilson leads to his 9th career RSR victory. The 58 in the grass and looping it. He is celebrating, and he'll be celebrating down in victory lane. We'll catch up with him in just a few moments. But first, we're going to pause for these messages and allow our top finishers to get in position and allow Justin Wilson to get down to victory lane. We'll hear from him right after this from Kentucky Speedway. This is LSRTV and the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Welcome back to LSRTV and the Garry Mercer post-race show here tonight at Kentucky Speedway. The Garry Mercer 180 in the books, round 14 for the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. And Justin Wilson grabs his 9th career RSR victory tonight after a wild finish. And Evan, incredible race. And as we look down this scoreboard, Wilson grabbing the win, but Scott Stenzel a hard charge to come up one spot short in second. Adam Benefiel third, C.J. LeVere fourth, Scott Simley fifth, Jonathan Cadell, who we'll hear from in just a moment, comes home in sixth, Mark Bratcher seventh, Matt Lacrosse rebounds from the back of the field to eighth, ninth, Brennan Mercer, and 10th tonight was Eric Arnold.
Nathan Little is going to finish right where he qualified, and that is position number 11. Ed Williams Jr. in the 65 is able to come home 12th. Steve Gottschalk in 91 comes home in 3rd. Kevin Linden in the 48 brings her home in 14th. Jason Lester in the 92 recovers for a 15th place finish. Brandon Peterson in the 78 had a rough night, walks away with 16th. E.J. O'Rourke, once again subbing for Eric Brundys after being caught up in the late race incident, recovers for 17th place finish. Jose Gonzalez in the 26 machine ends up with a blown motor in 18th position. Dan Murray in 19th position and his number 55, the last car on the lead lap. And Bobby Terrell in the 60 machine finishes 10 laps down and rounds out the top 20.
The rest of these cars out of the race. Attrition a big factor in tonight's event. 21st was Jason White. 22nd, Thomas J. George. 23rd, L.D. Sarabia. 24th, Nathan Bowers. 25th was Michael Woolley. 26th, Brian Harvey. 27th, Jamie Moore. 28th, Keith Brooks. 29th, Ben Burnett. And 30th was Michael Gray, who went out at lap 8. And that's a look at your Garry Mercer Trucking full field rundown after the conclusion of tonight's Garry Mercer 180. And Evan Passon, I believe you are down with our 6th place finisher who looked like he had a shot to win this race tonight, Jonathan Cadell.
Yeah, that's right. We normally keep it with the top 3, but we had to talk to Jonathan Cadell after this one. Walks away with 6th, spinning across the line. And Jonathan, walk us through those closing laps. You were up there. You looked like you were blowing these guys out of the water on those 4 fresh tires. And then a power move by Justin coming right off that restart to get you on the high side. What happened in those closing laps that brings you home in 6th? Because that 17 could have easily been in victory lane.
Well, I thought I was going to pull a Ricky Bobby the past few weeks, either first or last, and I was going for first, and I tried to make that move on Justin there coming into 3, and I got all flustered because it didn't stick, and instead of going to block Scott Stenzel there going into 3 the next lap, I let him go because I thought I could get the run on the outside, and that ruined the rest of my race.
Talk us through this race. It had its share of cautions, to say the least. You qualified 14th. Didn't take you long to get up high, and then it seemed like while other people were staying out and taking 2 tires, you wanted to stick with a 4. Why was that?
Tires of everything here, especially if you could run the high side there. I couldn't run on old tires because even on new tires there, I was about to span out every lap, so I knew the only way I'd be able to get up there is with fresh tires. I think I stayed out one time for track position and it happened to work out, and that's what got me up front. But I was very slow in practice, and I happened to get behind Adam Benefiel there on one of those runs, and I started following his line and figured something out. Just hate I couldn't get the finish to show how good I was getting.
Well, that number 17 was definitely fast, and we see a couple names on there. Who makes it happen for you and your team?
I like to thank Steel Horse Racing. Those guys, they're real big help to me. Dan Murray and Jason Swan and all them over there, Steve Ritter, and strutmasters.com, Scott Beatles and all them. And thank my wife for letting me do this every Monday night, man. She's a champ.
I definitely 10-4. Well, congrats on what you got. I know you would have liked more than that, but you put on a show, and we'll look forward to see what you can do in 2 weeks' time when we head to Daytona.
Thank you, sir.
Jacob, that's going to do it down here from pit row with your 6th place finisher, the 17 machine of Jonathan Cadell. I believe you're cut up with our 3rd place finisher, Adam Benefiel.
Yeah, that's right. Down here with Adam Benefiel, who, boy, did he ever have an eventful race. Adam, from the back to the front, to the back, to the front, to the back, to the front again. It seemed like you were like a yo-yo all night long, just could never stay at the front long enough to make a serious charge for the win tonight, but you're up in the top 5 when it matters. How draining was this race for you, because you had to fight all night long just to come out of here with a solid third-place run tonight?
It's it's draining, disappointed, all the way around. Honest to God, I feel like we had the best car in the field. Right there at the beginning, we busted out, and Lacrosse would get a little head, bust out there for a couple laps, and come right back to us, and we'd be able to get around them and just go. I really feel like we were the dominant car, and driver error lost it off too. But it's been the story of my life in this league, man. Fast week in and week out, just bad luck. It's bad luck cloud over my head right now.
All clouds do clear up eventually. I mean, you've had the speed the last couple weeks. It seems like you should have come out of here with a couple of victories. You've been in contention. For you, what's it going to take to keep that mindset going? I mean, obviously, you've got the speed, but what's it take for you to keep convincing yourself we're going to get there?
You never quit. Racing, anything can happen. And the way I was brought up is you keep digging, no matter what. You can have, 5, 10, 15 races of bad luck, and then all it takes is one and to get the ball rolling in the right direction. So there's no doubt in my mind, we can come in and win any race. It's just, got to get that lady luck on our side.
And I'm sure it's coming, but I know you've got plenty of other people on your side that are helping to make it happen, and want to give you the opportunity to give them some shout-outs. Who makes it happen for Adam Benefiel?
Well, recently I just split off from a team I was with. So I'm a one-car team. So Adam Apple Motorsports, Roll Speed Dynamics, been with me since day one. My family, my wife lets me come in here and do this, and I guess that's about it. People that's out here watching, that watch the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series, stay tuned, because Roll Speed Dynamics will be on a couple Gale Force racing cars for the remainder of the season.
And that's always good news to hear. Adam Benefiel rounds out the podium tonight, comes home in third. And Evan Pasoko, I believe you caught up with somebody who we were asking ourselves at the end of this race, where did he come from? Scott Stenzel comes home second tonight.
And it would be hard to believe that race car could drive, because that thing looked pretty torn up compared to some of the guys that we saw that they got damaged and had to get those things fixed. And man, Scott, you powered through with a damaged race car, picked up 2/10 on the last lap, just ran out of time trying to get that number 2 spot. Walk us through those final laps trying to chase down that checkered flag.
Oh, that was a good show, wasn't it? I think we were 3 wide there. I think I got in the back of CJ LaFair. I was worried he was going to give me the bumper after that. It just got really dicey there, and I hate it for those cautions at the end. It was starting to get racy. The tires, if we could get like 10 laps on those tires, it was going to get mushy and start to get a little more racy. But yeah, it was a good show. I hope everybody watching had a good time watching it, and we were fortunate enough to get some luck out there and dodge a bunch of wrecks. So we were in position.
You talked about the cautions, and this race had about 11 or 12 of them, I think, when it was all said and done. And that really kind of chopped up the green flag runs and brought us down pit road a lot. And we saw a couple of guys try to take track position. Some of them stayed out, some 2 tires, and a lot of guys tried to stick to the 4 tires. What was your strategy on that? And walk us through how you had to negotiate these cars on corner exit, because coming off of 2 and 4, those things just did not want to keep straight, it seemed.
Oh, wasn't that crazy, Evan? You could see those things dancing around there. Everybody was on the verge of wiping out. Heck, I spun myself sideways down. I don't know if it was off of 4 or whatnot, but gathered it up once during the race and went to the back. But I had a good crew chief, Kyle Tarasca. He was helping me call call the race, and he said, 4 tires is what's going to do it. If it came down to 10 to go and the leader pitted, we were going to go 2 tires, but 4 tires was all you could do really to keep that car from spinning out every lap.
We did a good job of negotiating it. You're able to come home second. I know you wanted more, maybe a couple more laps. You would have been able to get there. Again, you pretty much cut that lead in half in those closing laps, especially in the white flag lap. Coming home second, still a solid finish. Who makes it happen for you and the crew?
Hey, I got to thank my wife. She lets me do these things crazy late hours of the night, banging pedals and yelling at the screen. So I got to thank her. And of course, Yellow Stripes Making the Driver. You can go check that out, makingthedriver.com. Appreciate everything you guys do at LSRTV. You guys rock. This is a great broadcast. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words, and congratulations on the finish. Hopefully, your rear end's not going to be as sideways when we go to our next racetrack, Daytona, because that normally doesn't work out as well. You really don't get a chance to save it when we go there, but definitely congrats on the top 2 finish, and we look forward to see what you can do at Daytona.
Thank you for having me.
That does it down here from pit road. Scott Stenzel is able to wheel home a damaged race car, coming home second in those closing laps, and I believe you're down in victory lane, Jacob, with a very happy Justin Wilson.
Victory lane's the place to be tonight, and for the 9th time in his RSR career, Justin Wilson sits tonight in victory lane, and that is not an easy feat. A tire eater racetrack, and tonight it was a caution fest. But Justin, you were at the back of the pack at one point in this race, had to battle your way all the way back through this field. Walk us through your run to the front, and walk us through what it was like in those last few laps, especially that pass you made there of Jonathan Cadell to grab the win.
Oh, it was a challenging pass because it was a good 3 times I can count of when I was riding that line that I got loose and about wrecked myself. So I'm glad that it stuck for me this time. And it's very frustrating having to keep driving through the field. I mean, it was all due to my mistakes, but I had a couple guys keeping me calm, so I got to thank them.
For you, 9th career win, and I know the points is really shaken out in kind of a weird spot for you. Got a lot of ground to make up because of the 94 machine of Eric Brundy's being so dominant at the start of this season, but of course the chase reset coming, and you guys put a win in the books. What kind of momentum is this going to give you? We go into an off week, but 2 weeks is Daytona, and of course we all know anything can happen there.
Yeah, it definitely helps us because we started late this season. I believe this is our 6th race this season, so we're way behind. So we still got a lot of ground to make up. Even with the win, we still might not have a shot to make it. So we got to really pray for a good finish at Daytona. I mean, again, anything can happen. I mean, I blew a motor at Talladega recently, so we'll see what happens.
Wild finish, wild win, Justin. I know you can't do it by yourself, and nights like this are made possible by a lot of people. Who makes it happen for you?
Joey Katina for giving me the shot to run on his team. Can't thank him enough. I got Mitch Rollo, Joey English, Keith Bouchard. They've been helping me out all season. The guys at RSR trying their best to put on the greatest shows they can, and the drivers themselves showing some respect, and you guys for the broadcast.
Kentucky Speedway, and that's pretty well going to wrap it up for tonight's broadcast here on LSRTV. For everybody at RealSimRacing.com and the Full Throttle Cup Series, want to say congratulations again to the 50. Justin Wilson for grabbing the victory tonight in the Garry Mercer 180 at Kentucky Speedway. Special thanks to Garry Mercer Trucking, the series sponsor here for the Full Throttle Cup Series, and for all of us at LSR TV, Evan Pasoko, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson. I'm Jacob, reminding all of you to keep it off the wall until we meet again. And until next time here on the service, we're out. So long from Kentucky.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.